In the previous video, we looked at the running count and saw how it fluctuates for each one deck game as the cards are dealt out. Now, how do you figure out your player advantage? You need to find the true count. What is the true count? This really should be called the true effect count or the single deck equivalent count. I'm going to press the F9 key a few times until I see the situation I want. Okay, here it is. The first two cards dealt out of the deck are low cards, 2 through 6. So at the beginning, the running count is 0. A small card is dealt out. There's one fewer small card. So now there are 19 small cards and the same number of neutral and positive cards. The running count is +1. And then another small card is dealt out. There are now 50 cards in the deck. There are 18 small cards remaining. Still 12 and 20 for the neutral and positive, neutral and big cards. Now the running count is +2. For the next card that's dealt out, the chance of a low card coming out is 10% less than usual. There are 20 small cards. Now there are only 18 small cards. There's a shortage of 2 small cards. Your chance of drawing another small card is 10% below normal. What about for a half deck? Let's say there's a half a deck remaining. 26 cards. On average, there should be 10 small cards, 6 neutral cards, and 10 big cards. Now let's say a small card is drawn from this. The running count becomes +1, and now there are 9 small cards remaining instead of 10. That's 10% less than normal. That has the same effect as a count of +2 in a full deck. So the true count of 1 in half a deck is equivalent to true count of 2 in a full deck. To get the true effect of a +1, we have to double it and make it +2. Getting back to the single deck. I've calculated the true count exactly in this column. Now in actual casino play, you'd sort of estimate or round off these numbers. But here in the spreadsheet, I've calculated the true count exactly, and I can display that here. Select data, and then enable the true count graph. Click OK. So the running count is the gray line, and the true count is the blue line. You can see they're the same or practically the same at the beginning of the deck. But as you reach halfway through the deck, now the running count is double. It gets magnified more and more until down here, like a count of -1 becomes a -11 or whatever it is. It gets blown up. The true effect of the running count gets bigger and bigger as you deal down the deck. Okay, now that you've got the true count, how do you find out your advantage? Well, for each +1 of the true count, your player advantage increases by approximately 1/2 of 1%. That gives you your player advantage, and I've plotted that in a graph. Let's scroll down here. So once again, the gray line is the running count, the blue line is the true count, and here's your player advantage. For example, when you have the running count of +4 here, the true count is around +5 because of the true adjustment factor. That gives you an advantage of 2.5% instead of 5, minus the 0.18%, this tiny little fraction. And so as I press the F9 key, you can see, oh, wow, this is a nice situation. This would be where you want to bet a lot. Your advantage has exceeded 5%. That's unusual. Usually you're going to see in the range, the average is going to be right on the line, and the fluctuations are typically within this graph between -5% and +5%. Now, why have I drawn the graph over here as dashed lines? That's because in a single deck game, they shuffle, the dealer shuffles when half the deck is gone or a little afterward. So you will not have any opportunities to bet beyond the halfway point. That would be a time to take a break from the game right here. So you can see how your advantage or disadvantage fluctuates for each single deck game. Now, keep in mind that you cannot place a bet just anytime you want. For example, you got a nice peak here, but that may be between rounds while the game is being played, getting hit cards and so on. The only times you can place a bet are at the beginning, right here when the count is 0, and when a round is finished. And so how many cards get played in a round? Well, it depends on, first of all, how many players at the table. Obviously, at a full table, you're only going to get about 2 rounds out of a single deck. The first round and the next round. And so you'll have only one chance per deck to bet more because so many cards get used up, only 2 rounds per deck. Now, on the other hand, if you're the only player at the game, you're going to have several chances to increase your bet. Of course, it depends also on what kind of cards are dealt. If everybody's dealt 20s, there are going to be plenty of cards left. And if everyone's dealt small hands and everybody has a lot of hit cards, or if you split pairs, a lot of cards are going to get used up per round. But on the average, I'm guessing maybe 12, maybe every 12 cards on average for an uncrowded table. So you might get three chances to bet per round. Once with a count of 0 at the beginning, and then 2 more. And that's why I've spaced these numbers at intervals of 12. So this shows you your opportunities for making bets at advantageous times for a single deck. Now, what about a double deck game? That's the subject of the next video.